Hey everybody, this is Saturday night, August 9th, 2025. We are the Across the Pitch post-game show on AAT Sports Network. I am Mike Barrera. I'm joined by Dave Miller tonight. Listen, Dave, as I begin to share out our social media links so we can start this conversation and get some commenters in the comments section. The Philadelphia Union draw 1-1 against Toronto, a team that's in the bottom half of the Eastern Conference, a team that has not scored a goal in the run of play in over three matches. I think my report this afternoon or from yesterday was
Yeah,
July 12th of last month.
yeah.
Just let it rip right now. Give me 45 seconds and just let it rip.
I think we should have a frustrating game in general. I think first 15 minutes, the Union could have easily been a couple of goals up. I mean, again, really well worked goal. Bariba playing a nice through ball for Vashislev, who does really well to keep his composure and slide the ball in the bottom corner. And I think Bariba should have scored himself in the first half. He had, I think, the one chance where he tried to sort of backheel it, but completely just couldn't, couldn't make the right contact with the ball. And then moments later, he has a header at the back post and like half a yard out, and somehow doesn't score. And you're thinking, it's gonna be one of those nights maybe. Um, but um, it. I think after the first 15 minutes, the Union really dominated the game. Just sort of started to peter out. Started to peter out from like 15 minutes onwards. Really, I think Toronto took the sting out of the game, did really well to do that, and just kept themselves in it and plucked away as long as possible. And then obviously the goal at the end, which was just such a poor goal to concede, um, was ball played out to the right hand side. No one closes down the cross, and then Kerr gets away from his man and scores a decent header. And you're just thinking, for crying out loud, like it's 1-on-1 defending. Glasnes lets his man go, and someone's got to get up to Henry and try and block the cross, and they don't. Incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating.
Absolutely. Let's discuss a few things. Jose Nunez is basically right next door to you, Dave. Jose is out in Ireland right now. He said, "I sit up for that ending." Listen, Jose,
Yeah.
Dave stays up for these endings all the time, so you can suck it up for a week or so. But glad you're joining us in the comments, Jose. Have a safe trip. Looks like you're having a fun time so far. Cole says, "Have to finish our chances. Have to finish out these opponents." So let's again. There's a lot to talk about tonight. Let's look at the starting 11 and the bench for the Philadelphia Union. Now, as I was on Twitter seeing this get put out, I thought, wow, this is a really strong team. This is a really deep team. This is probably the deepest team that we've had with the Union probably since 2022. And even then, you could argue this team is better. So the starting 11 time, we have Andre Blake in net. We have Makanya, Glessens, Wagner, and Nathan Harriel at right back. Not Frankie Westfield, Nathan Harriel. We have Bruno, Danley Jean-Jacques, Jesus Bueno, Ty Baribo, Quinn Sullivan, and Indy Vasilev as your starters. On the bench, we had Michael Ua, Jovan Lukic, Kevin Sullivan, Bedoya, Raffanello, Bizo, Rick Westfield, and then Milan Iloski gets a call on the bench. Now, we knew that he was going to be available for tonight's match. Very exciting stuff. I was perfectly fine with him not starting. I did not expect for him to start. But we'll get to the substitutions and all that stuff in a few minutes. Let's look at the comments real quick, and then we're going to get into the first few minutes of the match. Jose, Dave is built different. The Brits are just built differently. They can stay up late, no problems. And speaking of things in England, Dave, as Valerie says, I do have a Gillingham shirt on. They won today, 1-0.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Undefeated so far to start the year. Dave, how was that game?
First win, a plucky game again. Very, very similar to the game I think we just watched, apart from probably less opportunities. I think both teams sort of cancelled each other out for most of the game, and Gills had the one big chance and took it. Yeah, I mean, glad, a massive win, and hopefully we can build upon it on Tuesday night and try and get through to the second round of the League Cup.
At least Gillingham did something right tonight because the Union did not.
I mean,
But listen,
go
ahead.
Say the Phillies are 2 outs away from potentially doing something right as well.
There we go. I love it. Mandy says, "Hey lads in chat." Thank you, Mandy. I saw Hoagie in the comments as well. All right, let's dive into this match. First few minutes, the build up leading to the Vasilev goal, the assist by Ty Baribo, all fantastic. We have gotten on Indy Vassilev's case for a few times this season. Not too harsh, but we've all agreed that maybe he could be a little bit better in the final third with his finishing touches. He did well there to finish. At this point, I'm really riding high on the Union. Now, I think it was Danny Higginbottom or Sebastian Latour. Somebody mentioned, they might have both mentioned it, honestly, that Toronto, probably at the 20th minute or so, switched to a 4-2-3-1. But overall, it seemed like once the Union scored their goal, Toronto really settled into the match. Now, I wouldn't say that they were overly dangerous in the first 45 minutes. They weren't testing Blake left and right. I don't think he even saved a shot until the second half. But it was clear that they had taken some control over that game in the first 45 and really made it so that way Union just could not get their chances as often as they would like. Anything in particular you saw from Toronto in that first half that really kind of turned the momentum? Because early on you thought this could be a blowout, and then suddenly it was not.
I just think they really slowed the pace down for about 10, 15 minutes, and I think just completely took the sting out of the game. Which, to be fair, when going away from home, you can see nerdy goal, backs against the ball. I guess in that sort of situation, you either stand up to the test and you do what you can just to survive, or you collapse and you find yourself two, three goals down after 20 minutes. So we got to give credit to them for that. And the Phils have won the series in Texas.
I love it.
But they did what they had to do and sort of mentioned, to change the formation as well, perhaps trying to match the Union up man for man, trying to, again, by doing that, they sort of take away any advantages the Union may have had in the field and things such as that. So
let me ask you something here, Dave. As Mandy says, the beginning of the match looks so promising. Now, as I read that starting lineup, everybody pretty much sounded correct, the usual. The one person who is not is Jesus Bueno. Now, we saw Jesus Bueno a few times so far this season. We've all talked about his consistency in playing. It seems like recently he's been in good form. Now, also, we have the Wednesday Open Cup match as well. Do you think that maybe if Lukic had started this game, we may have had a different result? Or do you think Bueno did overall in that first half and overall in this match? Because personally, I thought Bueno did okay. He had a really good shot on target in the second half as well. But I was a little bit surprised to see Lukic not starting for the first time in what feels like forever.
I guess, you got to look at, I bet perhaps there's probably one eye on the future as well. League's Cup midweek. I think we've all spoken about it in the podcast before as well. Like, you'd imagine that is the priority for the Union, is the League's Cup. That's the thing that they are going to put all the eggs in the basket for, and they're going to want to go out and try and win that. So, I mean, I guess if you can try and keep Lukic fit for that game, then limit his minutes to make sure he's definitely going to be raring to go for that. Then I guess that's what you got to do. Quite telling of the substitutes during the game as well. The sort of players that did come off. Quinn Sullivan's, Damiani, Baribo. Players that perhaps you'd be looking at maybe starting midweek as well, with a view to them making bigger changes for the Red Bulls game in the league next weekend.
Yep, exactly. A couple more comments to bring up here. Cole mentions feels like we cannot take Quinn and Danley off. Cole, I'll get to that Quinn Sullivan substitution in a bit. Joe says, I'm eating cold funnel cake to keep my anger down. Listen, Joe, I wish you could heat it up at least and not have it be cold. But there is one positive. Nashville right now is losing to St. Louis 2-0. I believe the second half is already underway for that particular match. So if I remember correctly as well, for the schedule, I can pull this up real fast. I believe Columbus plays tomorrow. I can check real quick. Sunday night, we have Cincinnati playing against Charlotte. And we have, I'm sorry, it wasn't Columbus. It was Cincinnati playing tomorrow night, 6 p.m. against Charlotte. So if you're looking at the Supporter Shield standings, Nashville losing is great. San Diego's up 1-0 against Kansas City. That's not so great. San Jose is playing Vancouver tonight at 10:30. But I think for me, the most important thing is Cincinnati, not just for the Supporter Shield, but for the Eastern Conference fans as well.
Yeah.
We drop 2 points. They get to play Charlotte. Let's see how that turns out. Cole says, Bueno wasn't bad, but that Lukic and Danley partnership is something else. So taking either way is a negative. Listen, Cole, if you guys watched the Todd Lewis Free Kick podcast earlier this week, they had Dave Leno on. It was a fantastic show. But I believe Jose Nunez was the one who mentioned how the MVP of the season could just be the pairing of Lukic and Danley. And that's kind of the point of this conversation. I don't want to take anything away from Bueno. I think he deserves to make some starts occasionally. I can see why you would want to start him right here just to save Lukic's legs for Wednesday. I get all the points. I think I've been also somebody who says mix your rotation up a lot, get all these players minutes. I want to see everybody getting time, unlike we've seen in the last few seasons. I get it. I'm not opposed to it. But as the commenters are showing and as we're seeing tonight, taking away that pairing of Lukic and Danley is just it's the team is a little bit different without that. Mandy says here, think Bueno played a decent game, but the Lukic DJJ pairing is so strong. Exactly. Lukic is also on the bad boy list. Yes, Mandy. Mandy, thank you for the segue here. So entering this match, Lukic and Jacob Glesnes were on the bad boy list, aka if they got another yellow card, they'd be suspended. And Jacob Glesnes, who probably had a night he'd like to forget, had a yellow card in the first half. Now he'll be suspended for the match against the Red Bulls next Saturday in Harrison, New Jersey. So another reason why you don't play Lukic tonight, Mandy, is that let's try to keep him on the good side of things, and he can make it for next Saturday. And at this point, him being present for next Saturday is super important because Glesnes will not be there. I imagine, Dave, that next Saturday you'll see Nathan Harriel and McCanya at center
Yeah,
back. Do you agree with that?
I think so. I think that's probably the best bet. And then obviously you then have Westfield. Well, I guess if you look at it from next weekend, I presume the play, well, a midweek probably could be a Glesnes and Harriel in the middle and um, Westfield at right back or Bizo right back. And then,
I don't think Bizo starts on Wednesday.
yeah, sure, actually.
I think I just don't think that Carnell will start him in this particular match. I think
No,
you're
maybe
going to
not.
see Westfield.
No, actually, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think maybe he might have McCartney on the bench for how you're playing centre half, and then have Westfield out on the right, because then I guess you're not then risking McCartney picking up a knock or an injury. Because he is your only fit out and out centre back going into that game next
yeah.
weekend.
Cole mentions here, I wish we would see Pierre. Now, here's an interesting thing, Cole. I think we saw Pierre in the friendly against Frankfurt, which was an entertaining game. I think if you were going to see Pierre in the Open Cup, you would have seen him against Indy. I almost said the Indianapolis Fever. I'm thinking women's basketball. Indy 11 or who else we play? Pittsburgh Riverhounds. I think if you were gonna see Pierre, you would have seen him this part in those two matches. I don't think you're gonna see him Wednesday. I would be shocked if we saw him on Wednesday. I would not be shocked if we didn't see him in on Saturday though. I think Cole, I wouldn't mind seeing Pierre on Saturday night, especially if you take care of business at home, like on Wednesday night. Throw Pierre in there on Saturday, keep some fresh legs out there, especially with Jacob Glesnes out. I'm not opposed to that. Dave, any thoughts on maybe Pierre getting a call center back next Saturday?
Uh, it's definitely a risk. I mean,
Yes, it is.
yeah, that's a tough one because I mean, again on the road. I know New York's not too far away, but that's a road game. It's not like he's gonna be playing at home with the crowd and probably have the opposition sitting off a bit more. It's going to do a lot of pressure probably throughout the game. It's definitely a risk. Probably say no, just in the circumstances. I think again we're coming out of a game like tonight, frustrated that they haven't come away with a win. But I mean, could you imagine next week? They come away with a defeat and everyone's sitting there going, I mean, if only we didn't play Pierre. I mean, Pierre wasn't ready. Pierre wasn't ready. Do you know what I mean? I think it's not the right.
That's yeah.
I think you probably have more leeway playing younger players, further forward in that sense, because younger players like Calvin Sullivan who play further forward because their mistakes will be as magnified. So I think for the situation the Union are in right now, where they're battling for a seeding spot in the Eastern Conference to support Shield, I think it's just a case of you need to. Things got to go with what you know, and what's tried and trusted at this point in the season.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're pushing for stuff. I mean, forbid they go into next week without Harriel, Glesnes, and McCartney or something like that, then you would have to go Pierre. But I think that's probably a last chance saloon as opposed to a last chance solution like when you have to basically do it, as opposed to, if that makes sense.
It
If you
does
don't
make
have to do
sense.
it, if you don't
Yeah,
have to do it, don't risk it.
and Cole mentions here one of McConney or Harrell will need to play all three of these games, most likely. And I think Dave, to your point, everything right now is magnified or underneath a magnifying glass for Cornell, right? Because the Union are in a supporter shield race and the Eastern Conference battle,
Yeah,
and they're looking to push for Open Cup. I think maybe not earlier on the season, but probably like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, you think, okay, if Cornell gets a little bit creative, if he does a couple things, he's done so well so far this season, we can give him some leeway, right? Even if he made a quote unquote mistake, I'm not necessarily burying him on it because of international duty. We've had injuries to both Baribo and Ua. I mean, even Ben Bender's, I believe, still out with a calf injury. So there's been things in the way where I've given Carnell some grace, and I think even now I will too. I don't think it's fair to now be harder on him, but at the same time, we are in a great position to win. We are in a great position where we're not playing in Leagues Cup, where every other MLS club feels like they are. It's like, listen, Carnell, yeah, you got to put up and shut up now. This is a great chance you can get two trophies, if not three. So
yeah,
I get what you're saying, Dave, 1,000%. You're taking a big risk playing Pierre, but now if you lose two MLS matches, suddenly the race for the Shield it gets a little bit tougher.
yeah.
Um, let's get to the second half though, and we'll talk about the subs coming up and a few things we want to discuss here. So, uh, Wagner's free kick after Quinn Sullivan gets fouled. Bruno's header, bounces off, like I think it was the post or the keeper's mitt, and then Ty Briable gets a header on there. It gets called for offside. I don't know how well of a review you saw on whatever streaming platform you have, but did you get a good look at that goal? And what were your thoughts on that offside call?
Yeah, I think it was the right decision. I think once you actually saw you got the actual replay of like from the touch line along like the linesman's view of, you know, I think, yeah, definitely you could definitely see that there was a player. Uh, Admittedly, I didn't. I mean, with what I was using, I didn't get with my betting stream, I didn't get you know, I was going to say, as an international fan who isn't willing to pay for the MLS TV, I have to use I basically have to watch a live feed via one of my betting apps. So yeah, that's the joys I get. So a heavily pixelated, commentaryless, live feeds what I had. But yeah, I think was it Paribo who was in the offside position anyway from the free
Yeah,
kick.
Bribo was
With Paribo,
offside.
it was like
Yeah,
half a yard offside. So I mean, yeah, you could definitely you could see clear as day from the actual from the from the angle that showed across the line, and then obviously he made an attempt to try and play the ball. So again, he's off. Unfortunately, he's offside. Initially, having no commentary, I thought were they looking for a foul on the goalkeeper or something? So,
I
but I think
I
once you
didn't.
saw the offside, like
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure what they were looking at. For a second almost thought that Bribo didn't touch it into the net. It almost looked like it could have been an own goal. But really quick before we bring up some comments here and continue on this conversation, it feels like Bruno Damiani can't buy a goal at this point. Like every chance he gets, he had one where Indy Vasilov burned his defender really well, found Bruno in the box pretty, pretty, I would say spot on. Like it was right at him. I don't think it was too far behind him or in front of him. And Damiani just skies it over the net. I'm just like, oh, it just feels like Bruno cannot score. I mean, I don't know. Should I be as frustrated as I am? I mean, I feel like he's getting in a good position, but how many times can we say that before he eventually has to score? If you get what I mean?
no, yeah, I know what you mean. It's just one of those ones, isn't it? Where you just sort of you're banking on just. It's a tough one, isn't it? I guess it's more frustrating the fact you're seeing getting the chances to actually score. And I think I said it a while back, where at least he's having the chances to score as opposed to just being a non-factor on the pitch. And I guess you could probably still take the solace out of it, but I guess as well on the flip side, it gets to a point where it becomes quite frustrating when you're thinking he needs to score.
Mm.
At some point, he needs to find the back of the net and
And
kick on.
and the friendly against Frankfurt does not count. Sorry,
No,
Bruno, but it doesn't count. You
no.
have to eventually start scoring.
I thought it'd be good for his confidence. I mean, that might have been what could captain kick on, but I mean,
Yeah.
as you sort of alluded to now, if you're struggling to find the back of the net now, like during the playoffs, like when you need, the most reliable players. I mean, do you go Mikelua and Bariba up front to strike partnership heading into the postseason, or do you stick with
Well,
Damiani?
listen, Dave. Last match against who did we play last? Was it Colorado? Right? Yeah, Colorado. We see Michael Ua come on and he gets 2 goals in what, like 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah,
You just have to have your players finish. I think you can even argue for Quinn Sullivan. Listen, I mean, I think we get on Bruno Damiani considering the money he makes, considering the position he plays. I know Quinn's not as far up in the formation as Bruno or Ty or Michael, but today Quinn had a fairly decent shot on net that he put way too much power on and skied it over the net. You know, we've been getting on Indy Vasiliev for finishing better in the final third. I think the same can be said about Quinn. He rips his shots with confidence. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying anything against Quinn Sullivan. I know he's much more of a facilitator than he's a goal scorer. But to your point, Dave, you need your big guys to step up when it matters most, and
yeah,
they just did not step up tonight when they mattered most. Yes, he's in great position, but he has to finish. We can't just rely on Michael to come on with 30 minutes to go and find a goal. But then again, that's why you have Velosky, So a couple more things here. Mandy says instating the ref said Ty was offside. Joe, I see your question. You'll have to reword that because I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to ask. Mandy says he needs to score, but he was doing a lot of work on off the ball tonight what I thought was quite impressive. And Mandy, I agree. And that's the thing with Michael Ua too. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves because of the things he does on and off the ball. One of those examples was how the ball was trickling out of bounds in the second half, and Michael just comes out of nowhere, sprints, dives, saves it, and keeps the ball in play. It's those little things that don't wind up in the score sheet at the end of the night that matter. So I get it. Again, I get it, but I think I'm just frustrated tonight that we couldn't get the job done. Nashville shit in the bed. Yeah, they are, Jose, but the problem is we did not capitalize on that. We got a point. It's fine, but we could have gotten two more. Let's keep it going really quick. I mentioned the Bruno miss on the Vasilev pass rather. Uh, let's see here. Quinn misses a shot. I already talked about that as well. Let's get to the substitutions here. So, Micah Ua replaces Ty Baribo. Velosky replaces Damiani. Later on, we saw Lucas for Bueno. Shortly after that, we'll get to the whole Macania thing in a minute. I want to talk to you about that, Dave, in particular. And later on, we had Vasilev for Bedoya, Quinn for Cavan. Very just sensible substitutions. I was fine with everything up until Vasilev and Quinn coming off for Cavan and Bedoya. Any thoughts on those two in particular, those four players in particular in the subs?
uh, I think it's quite nice to see a more legitimate attacker with more experience come on, and no disrespect to Chris Donovan when it's Yavodowski coming on as opposed to
Fair.
Ula, and I think that's probably one of the more positive things. To be fair, I thought Cavan looked alright. Positive when he came on. I think is the right word. Didn't contribute overly, but he looked more confident. I think to put himself about. I think there was a couple of instances where he was throwing himself into players trying to make clearances, whatever. And I thought that was a good sign to see.
Yeah.
So I've definitely noticed Cavan Sullivan more in this game than perhaps you have in other games, which is, I guess, for
I
him
agree.
positive. Especially again in circumstances where it's 1-0, your opposition is going to be sitting back and they're not sitting back, pushing forward. You're going to be sitting back. I guess that also works for him.
Yep.
Perhaps that's also good for him in a sense, but you also can't really expect him to make a dramatic impact on the game when again he's going to be defending for large parts, trying to ensure
Well,
that you're holding on for the win.
and in this particular instance, Dave, when he comes onto the game, I would agree with you that Toronto was attacking at that point a little bit more often than Union. And I'm thinking I would probably go Raffanello in that instance compared to Cavan, just considering the flow of the game. I don't know if you agree with that or not, though.
Uh, it was an interesting one to make a sub, that sort of sub. I mean, perhaps he did get it wrong, but I guess really at the same time, you look at the goal we'll discuss it. The goal the Union conceded.
Yep.
Can you sit
Yeah,
there
we're
and
getting to
blame? Can
it.
you somewhat sit there and say, well, it would have been a lot different if Raffanello had come on or Vasislev had stayed on the pitch? I mean, probably
That's
not.
fair. That's fair. I get it. Let's get some comments up, and then we're gonna discuss a few things, especially the Macania issue. Let's go over to the top here. Cole says, I would even add Danley into the mix of people missing goals, despite his position. He gets a ton of wide open chances. I believe it was a Colorado match. Cole, you probably correct me if I'm wrong here, where Quinn basically feeds Danley a sitter right in front of the goal, and he just skies it over the net. It might have been the Montreal game. I forget, but I believe you guys remember which one I'm talking about. Danley does miss some chances. Um, he's dangerous. He's very dangerous. Probably one of our most dangerous players for sure. Jose says Shane Westfield didn't get in. The Philly and him would have been perfect for this game as well. Yeah, Jose, I was a little surprised to see that Westfield didn't get in, but obviously, in our opinion, he's probably going to start and play a full 90 on Wednesday. So that's fine with me there. I understand where Carnell's going. Joe says, have we ever blew a lead and ended in a draw or a loss before we head into the U.S. Open Cup match? I don't know, Joe. You'll have to dive deep into that one because I can't do that right now while I'm on air. And then Mandy says, during this fisticuffs, the other players warming up had to hold Frankie back from running over. See, Mandy, there's what Jose mentions, the feistiness in Frankie Westfield. Keep going down here. Okay, so there is an instance in this match where I believe it was a free kick, or it might have been a corner kick. The whistle blows, and Macania has the ball fall to him. It's probably a second after the whistle blows, barely a second, but he kicks it right into the keeper, creates this scuffle. And then you see him get shoved by, I think it was Kerr. I'm not sure who shoved him. But Macania gets a yellow card there. Mind you, Jacob Glessens had just gotten a yellow card. And we're trying to, keep these guys off the bad boy list, as Mandy calls it. What were your thoughts on when Macania did that? Because what it reminded me of personally, Dave, is when Frankie Westfield got the red card in Houston by doing the little headbutt thing on the player. He gets basically baited into doing it. These young guys, for as good as they are, at times lose their composure. So what were your thoughts on the Macania incident?
Uh, it's it's a tough one to assess, really, purely because, as you sort of said, it was so quick after the whistle. But again, for me, I just didn't really put it down to anything more than just like a bit of a dust up, really. Nothing too major. I think you sort of saw the way the game was played afterwards. It's not as if there were any lingering emotions or resentment towards anyone that was involved, which was obviously good to see. But
sure,
it just, again, I just don't think really it was necessary to have a 22 or 30 player brawl. Really, it's just one of those things. I think. Like, I can understand the goalkeeper was down hurt and he booted the ball at him. It's like the ball's bounced to you've gone to shoot and then the whistle's going as you're shooting. It's like, okay, this hit the goalkeeper in what, like the thigh?
Him in like the stomach, yeah.
So thigh where it is. He'll be right. I mean,
for me, what bothers me the most is that these moments can happen in playoff matches when the intensity has increased further. Mandy mentions here, it made me think of the 2 seasons ago when Bueno got a red card during the Colorado fight, in which was the one who had his jersey ripped and got spit on. Yeah, that was a pretty good scuffle there, Mandy. The Colorado fight where Bueno got the red card. But again, for me, I just want to see our young guys, keep their composure a little bit more because we see Westfield get baited into one against Houston. We see Macania lose his head and just make a careless move. Like if I was a Toronto player, I would have done the same thing and gone after Macania. Just off instinct, you're in the heat of the moment, you're defending your goalkeeper, even if it was arguable whether it was intentional or not, whatever. I get it. I would have done the same thing. You just want your players to be smarter. And then Mandy actually brings up a good point here. I wonder if the plan was to put Frankie in, but change once Glessens got the yellow card, knowing that Wednesday's lineup would need a shakeup, which is a great point, Mandy. Yeah, absolutely great point. Agree 1,000%. So we get past the card with Macania, the whole little scuffle. We get 10 minutes of added stoppage time, which was a lot. And I believe it was Dave Leno, who was listened to in the second half, had hinted at the Union just have to hold on. I know Latu had said 10 minutes is a great amount of time for the Union to score their second goal, and then we get an absolute bummer in the 91st minute. Right away, as soon as the stoppage time got shown, and Kerr gets the goal. The first run of play goal for Toronto since July 12th. It's been basically a month since they've had a goal away from the penalty spot. Dave, your thoughts on the goal and the defensive breakdown there?
I think I alluded to it before. It's just sloppy goal again. It's the frustrating thing for the Union is a lot of the goals they concede are so avoidable.
Yeah.
Again, like tonight, there's no one out. There's no one out there trying to shut down or block the cross. So the guy essentially has a free cross into the box as a free target. Then obviously, uh, like,
Yeah, I can't hear you.
sorry, yeah, it was just a frustrating goal to concede. It's just basic 1-on-1. Glesnes is there covering his man 1 minute. Next minute, the guy's peeled off and got in the way. And Kerr's heading the ball. Good finish, to be fair to him. But
It was a
again,
nice match. DeAndre Kerr. First goal since like
yeah,
2023, I think they said, or 24.
that's so Union.
Yeah,
That again, he's again to finish, but he shouldn't be free like Glesnes. Again, it's one you shouldn't lose your man inside the box like that. But yeah, again, I guess on the balance of play, you're probably sitting there thinking it's harsh on the Union, but I guess from a Toronto perspective, they did enough to keep themselves in the game, and they get what they probably think they deserve at the death.
young player too, DeAndre Kerr. I don't know why I thought he was older. He's only 22. Here is my issue that we talked about via text in between the Almaneys and Todd and Jose and I earlier tonight. The first question I saw once I saw the goal go was how many times have the Union given up a goal in stoppage time, whether it be first half or second half? So far, here's the count that we have. If anybody has a better memory than us, please feel free to chime in. We had 2 against Montreal, both in the first half, 1 at home, 1 on the road. We had 1 against Houston, where I think Jack McGlynn scored the penalty kick. We had 1 against Toronto today. We had 1 against Columbus and 1 against Nashville. That's 6 goals in stoppage time, either the first half or the second half. Now, the 2 games against Montreal, we won. Fine. The one game, the Houston game, God, what did we do? Did we draw the Houston game or did we lose the Houston game? Now I don't remember now off the top of my head. I gotta go back into the log here. Let's see. Houston we drew. So we lost 2 points against Houston. We lost 2 points against Toronto. The Columbus match was in the first half. I'm trying to go back to that one. I believe that's the match we drew at home. So we lost 2 points. That's 6 points right there. No,
The Columbus game,
7 because the Nashville one was what we would have drawn that game against Nashville, and we blew that one.
So the Columbus game was they scored last kick of the game.
No, Columbus. I'm sorry, Columbus was the first half stoppage time goal.
That Columbus scored last kick of the game.
Did they?
Yeah, Zawadski scored in the 93rd minute.
No, I'm seeing Columbus 47th minute in the first half. Nashville scored the 90th with 11 minutes of stoppage time.
Hang on.
Either way.
Yeah, 11th. Yeah, from the 11th of May.
Oh, you're going back to May. So now we have 7 games. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Rather than 6 games, we have 7.
The whole course of the season. Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Okay. So we did it to Columbus twice. Columbus scored in stoppage time twice for us. Once at home, once on the road. So I think if my math's correct at this point, you might be at almost 8 points that you've given up. As Manny says, a lot of points. You've dropped at least 8 points just in stoppage time alone. Not giving up a goal in like the 30th minute or the 57th. You've dropped probably 8 to 9 points in stoppage time alone this season. That is absolutely inexcusable. And to your point, Dave, it's like they're falling asleep. They're not paying attention. They're very avoidable mistakes. You see the replay. I mean, I know you didn't see it because you're watching off your betting streams, but Jacob is right next to his guy.
Oh, yeah. I saw the replay.
You did see the replay.
I saw the replay.
Completely burned.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no one out there closing the cross. Why is the guy in stoppage time allowed to have a free cross into the box?
Nobody was recovery.
Someone's got to get out there and try and block the cross. You have to bust the gut to do it. I mean, again, it's all good having that defensive shape, but as soon as they get the ball wide, you need to move over, and no one's moving over, and no one's moving with any intensity or anticipation of what's going to come.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, they're going to put goals on the plate for them. I mean, again, if you're going to give people a free cross, you're essentially giving them the opportunity to take their time, set the moment, pick their place, pick the player on to give the ball to. No one's going to get out to them.
You know what
And
sucks
again,
too, Dave?
it comes down from that left hand side.
Yeah. But you know what
Oh,
sucks too, Dave, is that we've seen these mental mistakes from Kai Wagner and Jacob Glessens. Not, I mean, we've seen it from Frankie Westfield. We've seen these mistakes from McConaughey. We've seen these younger mistakes, but we've seen these goals happen when it's one on one with like reliable players, and it's all a trickle effect of what we've seen from years past, where they've given up goals when it's least convenient for them, or they've had mental errors when it's least convenient for them. Uh, Philly Rover says, "I know the Jills won, but I didn't realize the goal was my favorite Rover, Bradley Dack. Great to see. Look, see, Jills are popping up here, left
yeah.
and right for you, Dave. I love that.
Well,
But
I.
a couple things here. Jose says Vasquez started for San Diego tonight, first ever MLS start, and then Jose also mentioned CJ only got his first assist tonight. So we saw Vasquez get an assist against Mazatlan in Leagues Cup. So our young players, or former players rather, are making names for themselves out in their respective clubs. Kudos to them. As Mandy says, love to see the kids thriving. It's fantastic. Happy for them. Wish it was for us, but happy them nonetheless. Um, Silver lining for tonight. The squad's very deep. I'm very happy with what Tanner's put together. I'm excited to see Olofsky play more minutes. I don't think he was good or bad tonight. I thought he was just okay. Didn't get overly involved in anything. That's fine. Um, if you're a fan looking at Wednesday, I'm pissed off. I hope every single person in that locker room's pissed off. And if you want to have motivation to absolutely beat the crap out of the Red Bulls, this is a great motivator to do so.
Yeah.
Is that a good silver lining for you, Dave? How do you feel now entering Wednesday, knowing you should have won tonight?
I guess you come out with no injuries as well. It's probably another big positive. You come out with no injuries. No one's.
Always good.
Oh, again, always good. I guess as usual, so perhaps I mean there should be that hunger in a way, but I guess is that perhaps they play with that frustration of we should have won the game on Saturday. So perhaps they might, I think as you said, sort of push a bit harder and try. If they do get the early goal like they did tonight, try and push on and try and kill the game off. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably the main thing. I guess Vasislev scoring was that his first goal?
Vasilev? No,
No,
he scored
was that his
twice
second
already.
goal?
He scored against Montreal and he scored against I want to say the Red Bulls.
One of them, I think. Montreal might have been his first goal. I thought, but again, I guess this is the third goal. Yeah, ignore me,
Yeah,
sorry. But again, good to go. I mean, another player from the team scoring as opposed to a Baribo goal or another striking goal. So I guess it shows that
sure.
you get the rest of the team scoring. But I mean, yeah, I think he came up tonight. I guess you didn't lose the game at the end. I guess showed strong resolve to not concede at the end. I guess that's probably when the pressure when you were facing the pressure of Toronto, gained momentum quickly at the end and trying to score that winner.
And
Probably
that's
the other positive.
and that's a thing that Bradley kind of warned us about too, is that this was not a Toronto team that was their play was not reflective of their standings. They were coming into this game in okay form in terms of results, but overall they were improving as a club. So maybe we just need to tip our hat to Toronto. I'm not sure. It still agitates me. The live standings right now for the Supporter Shield, for the Eastern Conference rather, we're at 51 points. Cincinnati's at 49. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they play Charlotte tomorrow night. So we'll see if Charlotte can hang on, at least get a draw or a win there to keep the Cincinnati at bay. But let's look real quick and ended up on this note here. So the Red Bulls are coming to Wednesday night fairly exhausted, in my opinion. They had a 1-0 win against Guadalajara on the 31st. They had a 1-1 defeat against Monterrey on August 3rd in penalties. They had a 1-1 victory against Juarez in penalties in Leagues Cup. So it's 3 Leagues Cup matches, 2 of which they went extra time. And then they play Real Salt Lake on Sunday night at 6 p.m. So they didn't even get a Saturday match. So they have to again go Sunday, play at 6 o'clock at night, get done. God, probably they don't get back till midnight or so to their wherever they're going. And then you have what Monday, Tuesday, and by Wednesday afternoon they're back in Subaru Park. So I think Cole mentioned here, if the guys need any more motivation going to a knockout game versus the Red Bulls, this should do it. Yeah, Cole. For me, I'm annoyed. We knew we were better than what the final result was tonight. But you're welcoming a team, Cole, that's absolutely probably exhausted. I mean, they've played a lot of games in the last what since July 31st. They've played three matches already, including 2 with extra time. I think extra time in the Leagues Cup is half an hour, so it's an extra 60 minutes on their legs right there, at least, not including stoppage time. Then you're going to have at least 90 more minutes against Real Salt Lake. I'm excited for Wednesday because this could be a rout if the Union play how they should play. And
Yeah.
thankfully, they have time to correct these mistakes. Any thoughts, real quick, Dave, as we wrap up the show on the Wednesday match and how you anticipate this club bouncing back?
I think you alluded to as well. I mean, they've got the match tonight, so again they have less rest on, which is obviously a good thing for the Union. They get an entire day's extra rest, and
Yeah,
um, I guess from a coaching perspective as well, they have the opportunity to scout and watch the live game, and then going back on tape and film as well. So perhaps it's 2 opportunities for them to see stuff. I guess you'll have a clear idea of how the Red Bulls might be approaching the game as well, going off how they line up on tomorrow night. I
yeah.
mean, if they were to go full strength tomorrow night, well, tonight for me, tomorrow night for them,
Hmm.
might indicate maybe they will make changes in midweek, and it could work to the Union's advantage, especially if they're going full strength.
Valerie actually corrects me here. Valerie, thank you so much. There is no extra time in Leagues Cup. They go straight to penalties. Regardless, it's a stressful thing. Hopefully the stress tires them out alone. Which is kind of dumb, I guess. Why I hate the whole go right to PKs. Like at least play an extra time, but whatever. Listen, the Philadelphia Union let us down tonight with a 1-1 draw against Toronto FC. They now get a couple days to dwell on that, not defeat, but feels like a defeat for about 3 days. They host Red Bulls on Wednesday. I'll be back live Wednesday night. Dave, I don't know if you will be, considering it's a midweek game.
Sorry,
Will you be with us?
unlikely. No, probably not.
Okay,
No.
gotcha. And then after the Red Bull match on Saturday, we'll be back again Saturday night, covering that on the post game show as well. The following Saturday, the 23rd, I will not be on my show. I will be in Asbury Park watching a concert
Oh, the
on the
games.
on the beach. So
Sorry,
you
mate.
get
Quick off. The
yeah.
game's on Sunday night.
Which one?
I know. Ignore me. I'm looking at the Red Bull schedule.
Yeah, the Red Bulls play Sunday
Sorry.
night against Real Salt Lake.
No, sorry, against Charlotte. Sorry. Ignore me. So I was looking at the Red Bull schedule from the 25th. It said the game's on the 24th or 25th.
Oh, okay,
Sorry. I
gotcha. It's all good.
Sorry.
All right,
Yes, on the Saturday. Yeah, Chicago at home.
gotcha. So we have a busy schedule coming up. We'll be live twice up until that point. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at AAT Sports Network. That is going to be Embraer1323 on Twitter for myself, for Dave GFC Miller. Gillingham is back in action in League Two out in England. So if you're a fan of League Two, you want to check them out, follow them. I know Dave, you share all their content out on Facebook and Twitter there, so it's good. Are you on Twitter too for them, or just Facebook for their content?
Do a bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. A little jack of all trades out there. Domesticated Hoagie says, "Are you going to Wonder Bar?" No, I'm going to Stone Pony. Hoagie. I'll be out in Stone Pony watching Chevelle and Askin Alexandria for all of you 90s, 2000s, punk emo, whatever genre you want to call that, rock fans. I'll be at Asbury Park on Saturday, the 23rd. And that's it. Wrapping the show up. Have a great night, everybody. Go Union, go Phils, go Eagles, the whole thing.
Doop.
Doop.